That's the goal. The feeling is the goal. And the weight going up and down or dropping is to elicit more feeling.
All right, guys. You guys want to blow up your back? That's how I blow my back up. You want a mass building back workout? Try this. You want bulging lats? You want Tyrannosaurus traps? You guys want lats like Dorian Yates with half the work and half fucking genetics? You want to figure out how to not work hard, get big? This is the shortcut channel.
I don't even know if I want to say the one thing I want to talk about. No, I'm just thinking of a nicer way to say it. I don't mean it so generally though. Yeah. But anyway, there's just been noticing this idea, like it's not a new idea, but it's been coming back lately. Not coming back, it's been around forever, but people are trying it in like weird, odd ways now, where like it's like they're forced negatives. So you're like it implies you're putting force on the negative and making the person like resist even harder on the way down, which is fine. It works for things like pressing and different things like that. But it's like, it's not like this broad idea that just carries over to all lifts and like, oh, we got to maximize the force on the negative to really, because that's where the muscle breakdown happens. That's where we grow, right? Like people heard that and they're like, oh, I need to really think about, I need to kind of understand this is like as slow as possible and come around. It's like, no, just the speed of the negative will be indicative of the weight used. And like this weight is very light. So I have to control my negative here, because if I don't control it, it would just go and smash in, right? Like I'd throw it out and it'd be like, whoop, right back in, because there's no tension. So if I create my own tension here, yeah, I can make it look like I'm keeping a controlled pace, but all I'm doing is staying with the tension of what I'm pushing. So I'm understanding the tension of 30 pounds and I'm rocking out on it to where its maximal point is, and then I'm letting it rock back around in a controlled manner, right? So it's the same thing when you go to 150 pounds or whatever. It's not like if we put it up to this, whatever weight it is, I'm not gonna do it. I got one arm today, but it's like literally, so if we're doing both arms, let's say, and guys are doing like rear delt flies and they're rocking around, like, you guys understand, like getting here isn't the optimal thing, and then fighting from here isn't the optimal thing. It's the stretch on your rear delt that's opening and closing your arm. So I'm sweeping out on my rear delt and I'm pushing across. I'm trying to get that to hit. I'm trying to feel a stretch on my rear delt the whole time I'm moving. I'm not trying to contract it like a bicep and then like slowly let it relax back down. It's like, no, I want to feel like it's being pulled around my shoulder cap and pulled back around to my back the whole time. I'm reaching with it and I'm rocking with it. So my tension's way out of my hand and I'm pushing out on my hand and my tension's still out here and my hand brings it in around on the same line. So if you were trying to, I saw people doing this, a couple of guys doing this in a video, they were forcing the negative of a rear delt fly, which makes no sense. Because like on a bench, it makes sense because someone's forcing more force upon me. I have force going into a bench behind me. I can offset that force by like resisting harder, and then I can fire off again because I'm gaining more pressure into the bench beneath me. I'm just pushing more beneath me to gather more power out, right? Or to stabilize harder. Here, I don't have anything. So like if I push out here, this is the weakest position I can be in here. I'm weak as fuck here. Even if someone taps this, I'm gonna go flying forward. So if you're going here and then someone here and then someone's pushing you and you're like, ah, like you see what happens, like even if I can't do it with two, but if I did it with two and I would like someone, I was holding here and I was pushing, it would round me immediately. Like immediately my body would be like, holy fuck, why are you trying to use this little appendage of your fucking arm to hold all that weight and now you're fighting even more resistance? We gotta help you. I gotta help you and like curve the back to like take some of that tension off, right? It's guys taking, it's an old school thing to do, and I understand it, it has its place, but it's like when you guys do it on things like bicep curls even, do you know what I mean? Like I can't do it, but like see, you pick up the 70 pounder and you're in the mirror here and you're curling, and then the guy will be like, bring it up, and then he's like, fight me, and you're like, oh, you can see like even if I don't have a bar in my hand, I'm going. And then I'm like, oh, then you die. So you literally hold the tension because you're fighting it so bad, and then it breaks completely. Then you bring it up again, then you hold it again, then you break it completely. Like, so there's been no tension on your bicep the entire time, other than like you rocking on your shoulder, right? Okay, so I'm fucking one wing Willie today, so I can't.
One arm Willies, are you saying?
Yeah, one arm Willie. I said one wing, but that sounds better. So it's the same thing here. If you guys and girls are, I'm setting up with 2 hands, let's say. I can hold this fucking thing. So I'm holding this thing with 2 hands, right? And I'm doing a rep. If I let this rep out and then I pull up here, so imagine I'm pulling with 2 and I'm here and then someone's pulling the weight back out against me and I'm not just letting my chest pressure take the weight and letting my hand go out as being pulled out by itself. It's like if I'm over pulled into my negative, I'm gonna automatically hunch and automatically overcompensate. It's gonna be like that on every lift you guys do. Like we said, chest has its merits, but I wouldn't even do chest. I wouldn't do forced negatives with chest unless it was either at the locked out position or like, what I mean by locked out is like fully contracted. So I'm not locked out, like where my elbow is like here. I'm squeezed in my chest as hard as I can be and I still have pressure on my hand and I'm still like pliable here. And I break a bit and I hold. So even if it's an iso hold and then someone started putting pressure into the hold and then like let off and let you get a rep. But I wouldn't force that negative pressure down into the person's body. I would just fight that range of tension where like I understand like they can control under tension of their pec and then they can take the tension themselves, rock off, bang. We can start the hold again with breaking and then I'm still letting it drop slowly, but they're making that drop happen quicker than I really want it to, right? But they're not reaming on the bar. It's like I do that same shit too with, I do this stuff with leg extensions, is I'll get someone to like complete a rep at the top, so they'll lock out on their quad. That's a good place to do like some type of force negative or some type of like iso hold to like recruit more muscle fiber. It's like, that's where you'd want to give a little bit of tension because the person can resist maximally. So if I'm locked out on my quad and you're pushing on my quad, I can lock out even harder and fight you, and then I can relax. There's no need for you to push the fucking thing into me, and then I rip it back out again. Like it's not the worst thing in the world. Like it has its merits, but it's like, why wouldn't you just put them to a person to over contract and then understand like they control their rep by letting the rep just fall, and then we get that sweep up again, right? Because you're just going to cause more injuries, more issues doing things that way. Because if guys are resisting you so hard on the negative of emotion, like we said, other things are taking over, so you're going to get those other things assisting, and next thing you know, like the isolating muscle is not working anymore. The isolating muscle might get too fucking freaked out, and bing, here you go. Or the assisting muscle comes in, it's not ready to do what you're asking it to do, and it's like, I'm not doing this, and bing goes your shoulder or wherever the fuck it could be, this tendon, that tendon. So it's just like understanding, fuck, I gotta get out of the side. It's so fucking loud over here. So we're doing one leg. If I was at the end of, say, even at the start of a set, I like to do, because it's almost like you're priming the person to understand where the muscle is, how much tension we want to create, and how much tension we want to rock on. So if I told someone, I wouldn't say just bring this up to the top and then we'll hold it together. It's like, no, we're gonna sweep up and we're gonna contract and we're gonna lock out on that quad. So I didn't just kick my foot up and hold my foot up here and just think that like I'm holding it here. I'm contracting through a rep and holding here, and then I'm letting this bend a bit. So instead of being up here, I'm here now. So I'm letting this quad hold on that shin. Obviously this is light, but if I had like even 60 pounds on here, holding that position, someone helping you up to here, and then letting you drop to there and hold this quad on that shin, everything's relaxed here. Then I understand the shin sweeps and kick. And then we can get into pauses and stuff like that again, where it's like one more rep, you bring them up and you hold them to a spot again, and then you can start forcing them down. You understand, like the tempo of the negative and the tempo of the forced negative, or the pressure you're putting on the rep, is fine. It just doesn't need to be like, I'm trying to convey that it doesn't need to be this like, oh, the harder we do it, the better it is. It's like, no, we have the tension. Now we're just manipulating it to how bad we want the person to hurt from it, basically. Because your gauge is gonna be their face and the sounds they're making, or the discomfort they look like they're in. Because like that is your number one gauge as a trainer, to be very honest with you. It's like, how is it looking? Yes, if it looks good, then we keep going. But then it's like, okay, well, what's our gauge of how many reps is enough if you're a visual person? when you don't have a rep seam and you don't like, oh, 8, 10 reps, blah, 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 blah. It's like, it should be like when the face starts doing this, like we do a rep here and then it starts going like, start paying attention. As soon as there's a little bit of like that's when you're like, okay, now I'm counting reps in my mind. And I understand like this one's not, that one didn't have as much effort. This one's here. Now he's starting to like really compensate. It's like, okay, give me one more and then down. And that's how you can train, people without having to count reps. Because connection is, all it is connection. Like, and you'll notice, I will bet you money, because I did this to myself the other day. I went to another gym just to do cardio near my house after my surgery. And they had, I think it's Techno Gym, I could be wrong, but they have like a rep counter on the machine, okay? I don't count my reps. Everything I did with one arm, granted, I wasn't training both arms, but I was doing like whatever. Everything I did was in the 12 to 18 rep range. Everything. I didn't not hitting that mark most times. And I was usually averaging in around the 15, 14, 13 in there somewhere on everything. And I don't look at my reps. I wasn't like looking at the machine like 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? I just was like working the way I work, feeling the tension. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. Put it down. I'm like, oh, I did fucking 15 reps.
Almost every time.
Yeah. So it's like, you have to understand as you get better as a bodybuilder and someone who lifts weights, that's the goal. The feeling is the goal. And the weight going up and down or dropping or like whatever the fuck is to elicit more feeling. It's not like, feeling isn't just contraction either. It's tension. It's almost like this electricity feeling where it's like like people will say like, they'll do quads with me and they'll feel like their leg is like buzzing. It's like almost like this irritating thing, like I gotta get my foot out of here because it's like the whole quad is like firing. It's like electrons going through my fucking skin, right? So it's like that's what you want to feel, and that's failure because you're not failing. The goal isn't to fail. Failure means you can't go any further. But you do go further because you do another set and you do another rep and you do 5 more exercises. So we're not training to failure, guys. Like that's a fucking really stupid way of putting stuff. Like it's to form failure or feeling, I guess you could call it, feeling dissipation, or like the feeling is too much in some cases. Like I'm so fucking pumped and I have so much blood in there that like I can't do another rep. And then I do another rep and I'm like, oh, fuck it, and I get out. That's the feeling.
It's as satisfying to me as coming is.
Are you taking yourself to the brink of what Arnold said, or are you like actually, or are you like getting to the brink and pulling yourself back? Like, are you a 2-pump chump or are you a fucking warrior? You know what I mean? It's basically what it means. But I mean, you can, that's what I'm saying. Like there's a million different methods to train. Everyone knows that. And I don't need to tell people that. There's no right or wrong way, but it's like, regardless of what it is, that guys who are having an issue, whether it's in bodybuilding or whatever, the feeling is the most important thing. If you can feel something, regardless of like, say you're a world record, like level deadlifter, you know just as well as the guy who swings a golf club who's a pro knows when they hit that ball perfectly, they know they hit it right. They're like, everything felt good. And when someone gets under their deadlift, like Jamal Browner or whoever, like these guys like Eddie Cohn back in the day, like Eddie knew when he got in the position, he wiggled his hips down and then he sunk his hips and he was in the ground, he just stand up, bang. So he made it look effortless because he knew the feeling. He knew the feeling that he wanted to feel and he stood up. Yeah, he hurt himself and he missed lifts, whatever, but like more often than not, he was looking for that feeling or that like little sensation of knowing that I've got this. That's all bodybuilding is, but we're repeating it all the time. In bodybuilding, you're trying to find that, I don't want to waste a set. That's why I don't want to like this whole thing of fucking, oh, feeder sets and my top sets and like all the sets matter, guys. Connecting to the muscle is why we're here. From the time you start the workout to the time you walk out the door or you're done your last rep, you should be feeling every rep. That's the goal. If you're not doing it properly. Like no one's told you that because it's so ambiguous that I can't tell you what the feeling is. I can't tell you what your feeling is. I can only tell you what my feeling is. But that's why you have to train instinctively and understand, like, I'm trying to feel the muscle I'm training as much as possible. And if I'm not doing that, I need to reassess and reevaluate what I'm doing in order to make that the case. It's not just coming here and moving shit around. If I see one more fucking video of fucking idiots trying to elicit contraction or elicit tension with these like holding one dumbbell, curling the other dumbbell, like this and this, or this fucking, like, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm not gonna say your name. You know who I am when I say this. Doing a biceps exercise, holding dumbbells with both arms. So both arms going up like this, and then both arms holding the bicep going down, and holding the bicep going up, saying that this is like inspired by Olympic gymnastic, like ring work. Like, bro, they get those biceps and that development from doing ring work since they're this big. Nothing to do with your, like, not to mention your arms this big around, probably this big. So like, why are you giving tips on bicep training when you have no fucking biceps? Like, I know that's like apparently the biggest asshole thing to say, but it's true. I'm not going to take lessons from like hockey lessons from a guy who's never played hockey. Like, he's only played with his friends and like his shinny, and he's telling me how to like fix my shot and like how I should skate. I can skate faster. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck?